What's going on, guys? It's Critical Fish and I'm back with a new video to discuss two stories that intertwine perfectly like a helix. See what I did there? Alright, I'll see myself out. So yeah, we're going to be talking about PlayStation and we're going to be talking about Xbox. This week it was confirmed that PlayStation is going back on its strategy in terms of how it releases its games. And it seems that PlayStation is going to collectively be releasing their single-player games exclusively on PlayStation systems going forward. I'll be doing a deep dive onto how this was reported out and why this really matters for the future of PlayStation. And I will also weave in the news regarding Xbox and their latest announcement on Project Helix, which is the next generation of Xbox, potentially the last generation of Xbox hardware, but we'll see a lot more news next week with the approach of GDC, which I will also be attending, and I am super excited to be going. There's a lot to break down here with the potential rebirth of the console war and the future of games as a whole. If you're into all things video games, whether it's industry news breakdowns or curated collection showcases, I've got it all on Critical Fish, so definitely stay tuned to the channel for more content. Okay, so first off, on the PlayStation side of the news, Jason Schreier came out this week with a report to confirm PlayStation's strategy going forward. There was a lot of rumors floating around in the previous weeks saying that PlayStation would go back to its only on PlayStation slogan and only put its single-player games on the PlayStation consoles. And that turns out to be pretty much true. Jason Schreier talks on the fact that single-player games are only going to be releasing on PlayStation consoles going forward, just like how it was for the previous generations up until the PS4 and PS5 era. In recent years, the strategy really shifted with Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst at the lead of things, and they were willing to deviate from exclusivity and put a lot of their IPs, including Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Days Gone, there's Uncharted, like so many games ended up going to PC to increase sales numbers and to potentially increase player counts. But ultimately, we can see the results, and it looks like a majority of the games that were ported over to PC never really pushed over 1 million units in terms of each game. So there was not much reception from PC players when it came to playing these games, especially when they were maybe 1 to 2 years old. But I'm kind of surprised by the numbers. You would think that with a big player base on Steam or on other storefronts that a lot of people would pick up these games that were exclusive to consoles, but it doesn't look like that was the case. So it looks like games like Ghost of Yotei and Saros are now going to be fully exclusive to the PlayStation 5 and most likely the PlayStation 6. However, the story changes when it comes to multiplayer and live service games. So, for instance, Marathon is a brand new Bungie shooter that just came out. That is available on PC, and I'm assuming that's to boost the overall player count with crossplay and stuff. And that makes sense, in my opinion. For second-party studios that are developing games with the publishing rights under PlayStation, like Kena, Bridge of Spirits, or even Kojima publishing Death Stranding under PlayStation, they get to pick and choose whether or not their game stays exclusive to PlayStation or if they want to put it on PC or Xbox or Switch. So there's two main points from the report that I want to touch on that say why Sony is making this push in the first place. The first brief reason is obvious. It's money. It's sales. The ports were probably expensive for PlayStation to invest their time and money into. They hired other studios to do these ports, and it probably took a couple years to get these ports up and running. I guess that sales across the board on PC are much lower than expected. And he also points out that internally PlayStation realized that this push for PC was actually hurting the company's identity, which is something that I've touched on in the past. And I'm honestly kind of glad to see that this is brought up at a high level. So those are the big takeaways from Jason Schreier's report on PlayStation exclusivity. Now I want to give my own reasons as to why PlayStation probably did this, and also tie in the Xbox story regarding Project Helix. So in my opinion, PlayStation going back and making games exclusive to its system is actually a good thing in my eyes. As a fan and for the company, I think this is a smart move. Fans are usually happy that they get some unique benefits to owning a system. This is a really good move from PlayStation. I think that this was a huge deviation to bring a lot of their IPs to the PC platform and even on the Switch. There was probably temptations to bring some of their games to the Xbox as well, but that would have been pushing it in my mind. I feel like this is the right move for the fans and the future of the company. When I read this report, I initially thought of two big factors that really influenced this decision. Obviously, the first one is money. It takes time and resources to get these ports up and running for the PC. And if sales were down across the board for every game that they tried on Steam, then that's a big tell that this isn't really worth it in the end, especially if it costs a lot of money to port them and if they're hiring studios to do these ports, and sometimes they're hit or miss on launch day. And the second reason ties in the next story that I wanted to talk about, and that is competition. Steam is obviously now a direct competitor with PlayStation because of the Steam Machine. The Steam Machine is a small, compact PC system that's going to act like a console in your living room. And it's going to be able to play all of your Steam library just in a little form factor cube that sits right under your TV. Now, why is this important? The Steam Machine and Steam have access to all of these PlayStation exclusive IPs like God of War, Horizon, Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima. All the good stuff is now going to be playable on a console-like system that sits right under your TV that's not a PlayStation. And in retrospect, I think Sony is really going to be kicking themselves because now you've allowed these IPs to go onto other systems and not make them uniquely tied to PlayStation. I guarantee millions of people are going to sell their PlayStation 5s and buy a Steam Machine close to when that comes out because they don't see the need to keep owning a PlayStation 5 and they can just continue with their Steam library. I know plenty of people that have completely switched over to PC and that still want to get the Steam Machine to replace that console-like experience. And the next talking point for competitors is Xbox. And surprisingly, after years of speculation and rumors as to what a new Xbox could look like, the new CEO, Asha Sharna, has come out and confirmed that Project Helix is the next Xbox PC hybrid console to release either maybe this year or next year, but it's going to be leading in performance and it'll play all of your Xbox and PC games. So very similar situation to the Steam Deck, but it's even bigger because in theory, on an Xbox console, you'll be able to play God of War. And in retrospect, like I mentioned with Steam, Sony's going to be kicking themselves for this one because they have opened the doors for Xbox fans to play PlayStation IPs that are still relatively new and fun to play. And honestly, I'm surprised that PlayStation did not have the foresight on this specific situation. I'm sure Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst were the people that had the final say on this, but man, I am really surprised. Xbox fans and Steam fans will have access to a ton of PlayStation games come the release of the Steam Machine and Project Helix. So for the main reasons of low sales numbers and allowing competitors to have their own games, I think these are the main reasons why PlayStation is going back to secure exclusives for the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 6 going forward. Ultimately, this is going to build more hype for PlayStation fans. It will make other fans of Steam and Xbox and the Switch curious about PlayStation. I'm not sure if it will instantly convert them to want to buy, a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 6 in the future. Because honestly, Sony could just change their mind at any time. They could change this narrative that everything is exclusive in a couple years. But I do think that this is a good thing, and it will build incentives to purchase and keep investing in the PlayStation ecosystem. It is curious to think about which strategy will work in the long run. Will it be the one that adapts, a large ecosystem where you can play everything and anywhere you want on any type of device? Or will it be true excitement and unique games that bring people forward onto the next generations of systems? You probably know where I stand, but I truly believe that games are the only thing that matters. So regardless of all this excitement for the Steam machine, all this excitement for Project Helix, if there are no good games on any of these systems, then none of it matters. And I will always follow where the good games are and where those are released. And for me, PlayStation has been the most consistent, reliable answer for that for the past 10 years. So I don't expect that to change anytime soon. And if we're getting more reasons to keep playing on PlayStation, then I'm going to stick with that. But I am excited for Project Helix. I am excited for the Steam machine. And I cannot wait to see Asha Sharna talk about this at GDC next week. So I'll have my opinions on the event, and I'll have more opinions on everything that comes out in the next couple weeks regarding these news stories. Once I'm back from GDC, I plan to release some big collection videos of everything that I've got, including PlayStation, Nintendo, and my Final Fantasy VII collection. So definitely stay tuned to that if you're kind of a retro player or collector. I really have a lot of great stuff to showcase. So stay tuned to the channel and have a great day.